Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project Magnetic Reversal News and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, June 25th, around 11 p.m. Mountain Time 2021. The models are in, and, well, the drought is over in the Four Corners region in the south. Yes, the monsoon has come earlier in decades, but tonight we also have a breaking story. Collapsing condo in Florida is connected to a former interviewee that we've had on the channel who also ran for president. Well, stay tuned. The big story: Phoenix reaches new low temperature of 78 degrees for the day, and the second wettest day on record ever. This is as South Texas April hailstorm sets the official largest hailstone record in the state. Keep calm. It's boom time. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. When Phoenix reaches its new low temperature, that's 78 degrees for the day, with slight rainfall through the Phoenix metro area, the low for Wednesday reached 78 degrees with 0.17 inches of rain. It's insane. And that nugget that we reported on months ago, there it is in fact, after further review, the largest ever recorded hailstone ever. Please see the final event write-up for more information. The National Weather Service and Disaster Safety surveyed the giant hailstone that fell in Condo, Texas on April 28th, measuring 6.4 inches in diameter. The measurement will be presented to the state climate extreme, and they have. The hailstone was never really official by a ruler or similar device. But they're going to put it in the books there. The books that got cooked. See how they use 3D imaging to figure out how big that baby was? And it was pinpoint gigantic. Meanwhile, in Kansas, earlier this week, we have increased lightning like never seen before. Here you see the leaders coming out of the top. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. Now, Tornado Alley is expanding. I didn't know if you know this, but southern states see more twisters now than ever before. But I thought they were saying that there would be less at one point. Now, the total number of tornadoes EF1 or greater by country is shown here, where you can clearly see the uptick as we go towards the present. More and more and more. In fact, the enhanced Fujita scale classifies tornadoes into 6 categories. Our analysis focused on those rated EF1 and higher to provide better historical comparison of deadly storms. Because at EF1 and above, well, if you're nearby, it's deadly. And here we can see more than 60,000 tornadoes were reported across the U.S. from 1950 to 2019. And this is what used to be called Tornado Alley. But as you can see, Tornado Alley has, well, increased a bit, shall we say. There it is. And that's the area historically known as Tornado Alley, which we just pointed out moments ago. This is like a PowerPoint. We found that focusing on this zone fails to convey the full story of tornado danger in the U.S. The scientists are not exactly sure why some states have seen an increase and others have seen a decrease. But they do know that many tornadoes form in storms born in warm, moist air off the Gulf of Mexico, and that the warming of the Gulf is rapidly accelerating. Although that could probably be disingenuous. What I mean by that is we're going to discuss meridional flow in a minute. So if you want to know more about how these storms form, I will leave you links to this mesocyclone updraft and all the other amazing visuals that are in this PowerPoint, and it will be linked below. But what it does show is that there has been a huge uptick in tornadoes in the last several decades. And that has to do a lot with what we're going to talk about in just a moment. Now, National Weather Forecast: severe weather sweeps the plains Midwest as heat builds again in the west. Heat is building, and the Northwest could see maybe some record temperatures coming this weekend. And Edmonton even activates its extreme weather response for this historic heat. We're talking Canada. What is a heat dome that they're talking about? It's the exact opposite of the polar vortex. It's deadly hot weather that gets pushed from the equator up into the northern realms. Now, 13 million people in the Pacific Northwest will contend with a historic heat wave. And what I heard on the news today was pathetic. They're like, they don't even have air conditioners. Well, in fact, 70% of all the people on Earth don't have air conditioners. So whoever said that is completely out of touch. Now let's talk about the facts. Zonal versus meridional flow is what's happening. As our magnetosphere weakens due to the grand solar minimum, the shutdown of the sun, and the shutdown of the magnetosphere due to the magnetic excursion that we're experiencing, it's a double entendre, a double whammy, which separates us from the zonal flow, which was happening several decades ago during solar max, to the more meridional flow. As the jet stream breaks down, we will see extreme weather coming from the equator all the way up in the Arctic, and Arctic weather coming all the way down to the equator. Can you understand what I said? That means it will snow in Cuba, it will snow in Florida, and it will be 110 degrees in Edmonton. Hello! I think I said that 5 years ago, and I warned you about it. Now, dangerous heat wave in the West is not as dangerous or hot as it was in the 1930s, especially 1936. But I digress. Severe weather and flooding in the southern plains to the Great Lakes is expected as the system moves east. There's the line. There's the front. A dangerous heat wave with record-breaking temperatures expected in the Pacific Northwest into the Southern California region this weekend through much of next week, while we're experiencing record cold in Colorado. Hello? See this? Do you see the meridional? Yeah, you see it. Excessive heat watches and warnings have been issued. Isolated strong to severe storms and excessive rainfall are expected from parts of the southern plains to the Great Lakes as the monsoon moves into the Four Corners region. Absolutely fantastic. Here's the total precipitated moisture that we're looking at just over the next 10 or 12 days. And you can see heavy rain in New Mexico. We're looking at 3 to 4.5 inches in my region in just the next week and a half. That's fantastic. Almost all of Arizona will get precipitation, all of Southern California, the most parched, all of the state of Nevada, and most of Utah. Hello. And it only gets wetter, folks. Extremely moist in the Tucson area. Yes, I'm sure you're happy about that. And take a look at southern New Mexico. This could be some kind of spectacular blooming of cactuses occurring here. This is unprecedented amount of rain. This is the entire year of rain in just 2 weeks for this region. Fantastic. Deadly tornado hits the Czech Republic amid European severe weather outbreak. The twister destroyed thousands of structures, killed at least 5 people, and injured hundreds. It's almost like they're in, well, Tornado Alley, but in Europe. And that's the Washington Post, which is almost impossible for me to ever get to. So I'm just going to erase that. Let's do it. Now, let's talk about some crazy stuff. Collapsed Miami condo has been sinking into the earth as early as the 1990s. Researchers said there are still 199 people missing. And it's, in fact, a tragedy because I don't think that they're going to recover many of those people.
Hey, Monsoon 2021 is picking up, finally.
We'll have to turn that off. That was completely annoying. Now, what we are going to show you is some pretty insane footage if it does parse up. I'm just going to chop off that video so we can get to it. Where were we? We're somewhere around here. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the Miami condo. I'm having really, really difficult connectivity issues tonight, and I apologize for it. But researchers as early as the 1990s has shown that this condo was sinking. And that data was up here, and we were looking at it. But because my connectivity is terrible, it's hard for me to scroll to the actual place where the information is. So just bear with me for one more second, and if I can't get to it, we will just give up. There's the displacement rate right there. The 1990 study of land displacement in the area of the Champlain Towers South Complex shows the land sank 2 millimeters a year over the course of the study. So it went from 0 here to, let's say, 12 millimeters of sinking in 7 years. Now, multiply that out to the present, so you would get about 30 or 40 centimeters. That's almost a half a meter of displacement, which alone is enough to cause this building to collapse. Now, the Surfside condo had been sinking since the 90s. We just showed you the data set, but there are some other things at the end of the video we're going to share with you, including this 16-minute video on the study which proved that it was sinking. So make sure you check that out. And let's take a look at the security camera and the collapse of the building. I apologize, but it just comes down so quickly. There was actually a few people heard in the parking garage here. It probably started swaying, and then let's say you're parked up here, you're trying to get to your apartment, which is already gone, and then you're about to be gone. Very sad state of affairs happening just north of Miami about 48 hours ago. And we are still praying that there are survivors, but there's more information coming at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Seismic update. There are some interesting quakes of note on the East Coast, the coast with the most. And we're talking Maryland. Can you believe that? There is a quake here showing up in Maryland as I move the screen grab here. I apologize. I'm trying to just get this up to speed. We were having little connectivity issues, so thank you for all bearing with us here. In fact, there was a moderate earthquake here, 2.6 in Woodlawn, Maryland. Very interesting. And there was an earlier interesting quake which has been removed, but no other quakes of note. We do have this rather large trembler in Turkey, but not out of the ordinary. Now, Earth's mantle provides new clues to explain Indonesia's explosive volcanoes. And what they did was a simple petrographic analysis of the lava coming from these volcanoes. And what that means is that they took some of the fresh lava, cut it into a thin section, a few micrometers wide, and looked at it through a microscope. And that would be the petrographic analysis of the mineralogy. And they determined that some of the most explosive volcanoes in Indonesia is because they melt the host rock of the islands, which is limestone. What that does is that charges the magma with huge amounts of carbon dioxide and oxygen, which makes the explosions more deadly and more massive in this region. So heads up for all those in Indonesia. It's been happening forever, and it will continue. Worldwide Volcano News Update. Etna continues to puff and pass, but currently the eruption has stopped. We also have Fuego, Sangay, Ducono, let me guess, Reventador, Marapi, and more. So take a look. Links will be below. Nothing significant. Space weather news. We've had some sea flares in the last 24 hours, but nothing significant. Maybe a C1, C2 here, high B flare. So the sun is active. We have some spots turning over the limb that we're going to keep a close eye on, but all is quiet on the Western Front. Nothing significant to report. Canada, more significant nonsense. 751 unmarked graves found at another residential school. And I'm no fool. There were no cemeteries at my middle school or my elementary school for people that died during class. So someone needs to get to the bottom of what we already know happened there. Now, comet strike may have sparked civilization shift A rehashing of the Younger Dryas event once again by the University of Edinburgh. And we shared a paper and the entire cacophony of breakthroughs coming out this week in archaeology and anthropology. Now, a comet strike may have sparked civilization shift. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of examples of black mats, cosmic catastrophe, burning of the surface, materials coming from space all over the planet, while 65% of the megafauna were eliminated from North America. So lots of information. But what they do not include in the current science is the known magnetic excursions, which we know cause mass extinction and speciation. Now, some of the hominid studies include a cave nestled in the Russian mountains that solve an ancient human mystery. A study of the Denisovian cave, which goes back 300,000 years, is putting the pieces together. And not only that, new ancient human discoveries upend the history of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens in Israel. So check that out. And a third discovery, a new species, the link between Denisovians, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens sapien. You're looking at him. The skull was hidden in a well for 85 years, only recently fell into the hands of scientists, and this is Dragon Man. A skull found in Harbin, China, has led to the reported discovery of an unknown species of extinct human, dubbed the Dragon Man. Dating back 146,000 years, this species has been termed Homo longi, however you want to say it. You're looking at him. Check out the video we did earlier for more information and all the papers, which, by the way, are not schmapers. Birds use quantum mechanics to see magnetic fields. New research suggests a protein in birds' eyes is sensitive to magnetic fields, which may help explain how they navigate across the planet. Absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm sure some humans will be getting this protein injected into their eyes soon. Scientists say early coronavirus samples were deleted from the NIH database. Well, why wouldn't they be? Coronavirus epidemic hit East Asia 20,000 years ago, according to a study. And here again, that study showing up. Or is it? There it is on genomics research. A coronavirus epidemic took place 20,000 years ago. Who knew? Well, apparently many people know. Now, Boris Johnson, food policy strategists say meat tax may be soon necessary, but warns that food riots if brought in too soon. Well, we know about the Grand Solar Minimum history. We know about the Dalton Minimum and the food riots in Europe, and it appears as if, well, they're caused by the government. Asclepius syriaca. Many people don't know what this common plant is, and it's probably one of the most important pollinator plants on Earth. And for those of you who don't know the scientific term, Asclepius syriaca, which would be the genus Asclepius and the species syriaca, well, we commonly call it milkweed. It's also known as butterfly flower, silkweed, silky swallowwort, and Virginia silkweed. It's a species of flowering plant in the genus Asclepius, which is part of the milkweeds, which you know what the milk is. That's the latex-like white substance inside of the plant. Now, this particular plant is extremely harmful to livestock and humans. Do not eat the whole plant. What you can eat are the flowers, the seeds, and some parts of the plant. But never eat a wild plant if you don't know what it is, because then you're an idiot. And you did not use the 7 Ps. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. When the U.S. intelligence community releases long-awaited UFO report that we will supply to you now here, UAP 2021-0625, contributed by Paulo Chavez from CNN. This is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence unclassified 9-page report, the preliminary assessment of UAPs, not UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which, if you read the report, basically says that they're not alien. So if you're watching Tyler's channel, it's probably from Earth. Mystery of what caused South Florida condo collapse deepens. I told you it would deepen. Well, first we learned of the subsidence reports coming out in the 90s. The secondary report happened in 2005. And then a recent report on the 40-year study on all structures was taking place on the condo, and they were even doing a structural analysis of the roof. We also know information where residents had sued the condo complex 5 years ago about failure to upkeep the outside of the building. So those are the known knowns. What are the unknowns? John McAfee owned a unit at the building that collapsed. The address of the building was 8777 Collins Avenue South. Here's a tweet he put up on June 8th, 2021 that has been deleted. If anything ever happens to me, please know that the 31 terabytes of files I have are located on hard drives in my condo near 88th Street and Collins Avenue, just north of Miami Beach. The condo in question that collapsed. This was tweeted June 8th. Just about 2 weeks before his death. Now we're over here at John's page on Twitter, which is still up, and there are 2 June 8th tweets. There's one that happened here about Bezos, and that happened at 9:03 a.m. on Twitter for Android. And then there was a second tweet here that happened at 12:12 p.m. So somewhere between those 2 tweets, this deleted tweet occurred. And it was from the same account. And that's a boom. To knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance in a dystopian world where the mainstream is controlled by the elites and the narrative they feed you is gobbledygook. Please share this with like-minded people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Become a Patreon if you so desire. But all of you that watch this video to the end are heroes. And we love you. Click on one of the other boxes to gain more knowledge, and we'll see you in the morning. That's boom. No.